is the Emmy-winning star of a hit TV series, and he is one very successful actor and director. Together, they're raising 3 children, and they've also formed their own production company to make children's TV programs. With Rona Barrett, Tyne Daly, and George Sanford Brown. Rona, this is the first couple that you've interviewed with us.
Yes, and I had a very interesting time, even though a difficult time, because when you have a husband and a wife listening to each other's answers, it's always rather unusual, a little bit difficult.
Oh, they both have so much to say, though. Now,
they do.
Tyne Daly is white, her husband is black. Marriages in Hollywood are tough enough, and even in this permissive society, I wonder if that's something that still is not a problem but a concern.
Actually, they discussed this in the interview. It is not really a concern to them because they never think of color. In fact, opposites can not only attract, they can also come together to form one of the strongest relationships in show business. She is Tyne Daly, who was born into the business. Her father, the late James Daly, and her mother, Hope Newell, were both actors. He is George Sanford Brown, whose parents came from Cuba. His mother worked as a domestic and his father as a chauffeur. Tyne and George met in the early 60s in an acting class at New York's American Musical and Dramatic Academy and have been together ever since. They've been married now for almost 20 years, and each has made a lasting impression not only on each other, but on the entertainment industry as well.
Right there, don't move! All right, get over here. Get over here! You speak English?
Not very good.
That's good enough. You're under arrest.
Tyne has won 3 Emmys for her portrayal of the hard-working, tough-talking female cop, Mary Beth Lacey, on Cagney and Lacey. George also made his mark in television playing a police officer in the early 70s series, The Rookies. He has scored critical acclaim in Roots and the recent miniseries, North and South. He has also developed a successful career as a director of hit TV shows, including Cagney and Lacey. Off-screen, Tyne's and George's co-productions include daughters Elizabeth, 18, and Catherine, 15. And just last October, at almost age 40, Tyne became a mother for the 3rd time with the birth of another daughter, Alexandria Beatrice.
I think I've got to ask you because everybody wants to know. Having 2 practically grown daughters, why in the world would you want to have a 3rd child at this time in your life? Honey? George, answer, because I understood it took her 5 years to convince you to have another baby.
It's true. Almost 6 years she spoke about, let's have another kid. And I don't know, because I don't know what took so long, because I love children, and we have great kids. We have wonderful young ladies. And finally, it was just seemed the right thing to do. And it's a blessing. It's the best thing that could have happened. I'm sorry that I waited for so long.
What has the child, done for you since you've had her now? I mean, she's just a few months old, but what has she done for both of you?
She softens everything. She softens your heart, and she softens your face. She softens your brain a little bit, Everything gets softer around babies. They're so poignantly new, and I think they make things new again. To see somebody at 3 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, that's so...
When you're leaving work at 5:30,
happy to see you.
And there's this little baby smiling up at you. Wow, what a way to start your
Very
day.
hard to grump off to work, because this person says, hello, how are you this morning? Look, it's dark, and what are we doing here? But she's such an open channel. She's a love lump, It's just love. Just a whole lump of love there.
I think there are a lot of people who always want to understand, how do relationships really work? I mean, it's when you 2 first met. What did you see in each other?
The father of my children, I saw. You did also,
see
you're the father of my children, aren't you?
Instantly?
Yeah. Almost. I mean,
Where
the
were
impression
you?
that was that we were in school together.
I know, but where were you? I mean, what made you say that? That's going to be the father of my children.
I have no idea. But I was very, very sure of that, almost immediately.
Were you just as sure, George, that she was going to be the mother of your children?
No, not immediately, not that first day, but I was terribly attracted to Tyne immediately. I mean, very strongly. Very strongly. I didn't know that I...
Would go this far. It should come to this.
There have been times when both your careers have not been simultaneously in high gears. One was doing something far more successful and more prominent than the other. There has to be, since both of you aspired to be actors, a sense of jealousy, I would assume, if you were to be honest. No matter how much you might love one another, the fact that one might get to do the work and the other is not recognized or given that opportunity, that has had to have happened to both of you at some time.
Yes. Didn't you so?
How did you deal with it? Were you able to be honest with one another and say, I'm kind of jealous, I wish it were me?
We've talked about those things from time to time. Luckily, we have never been up for the same part, so it's never been that kind of jealousy. There's always been that I wish I was doing, or I wish that I could do, but it's never been about the one specific thing, you know? So it's really saved us a lot.
We've weathered it. I think that there was a time that I remember years and years ago now, but that we used to sort of conveniently, there'd be a convenient fight that would happen just before one or the other person was going off to an interview. The rise in passionate anger would be directly in proportion to who was going out to get what job, even though intellectually there was support of you go and get this job and bring home this money, rent, you know, it was any job that either one of us were offered we needed to say yes to. There was sort of psychic beating up of the other one, sometimes direct beating up of the other one, just before you had to go out and sort of put your best foot forward. And when we got on to each other about that and found out about ourselves about that, we sort of cut it out. You know, we learned how to cut that out.
What happens, though, when, well, for example, right now, you're in a series, a successful series. You obviously have to be earning more money than you, George, directing. What is that like for you now? I mean, how do you really deal with it? Most men find it so difficult to accept the fact that their wife earns more money than they do.
I love it. I think it's terrific. I really do. Sincerely, because I get all the benefit from that, so why wouldn't I like it? I mean, it certainly, it puts me in a position of saying, sorry, I don't want to do that job, you know? Or fire me, my wife is working, you know? So why shouldn't I like it? It's terrific. I get to choose what I want to do, and I get to go out and start a company. I get to go off and do a play if I want to. And it's something that Tyne's being in that position has afforded me.
It's interesting to me. We have a show coming up that has to do with Mary Beth and Harvey Lacey fighting about money. I don't believe that George and I have ever fought about money, even when there wasn't any, at all. You know, we're both completely irresponsible and extravagant about money, and we always have been, and we probably always will be. So, you know, there's
When you didn't have any money, how did you live?
As best we could.
We've always lived well.
I mean, did you have 3 square meters?
We had more vacations than we do now.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, we've just been very fortunate. We've always worked. We've always worked from the beginning. I remember going away from the first job where we made any kind of money. We were in Europe. We went and we spent the whole thing.
We spent the money.
Whole thing.
He made this wonderful salary on this movie, and we were living in a 6th-floor walk-up on 76th Street in New York. And we went to Europe, and we were having such a good time. We sent for his sister, and we sent for my little brother, and we lived a life and went to restaurants and bought clothes and stuff. And then we had to go to the agent in England and say, please send us money. We can't get home. We've spent it all of it. You know, we couldn't get it. We didn't have an airline. We had the return tickets. We had the return tickets from the company. So, I mean, you know, so
I really don't mind Tyne making more money than me. Okay.
Because we both get to use it,
This wagon is so new, got the feeling that I do. But there's a real taste, a Minute Maid orange soda. Gotta say that I like this taste that seems so right. That's a real taste, orange taste, a Minute Maid orange soda. Working life, break away.
can turn your living room into a jungle or take you away from it all. It controls a television set so scientifically advanced that it automatically adjusts the color signal and locks it in. Hitachi TV with Luminar Color Commander, plus a unique new comb filter for the sharpest, brightest, most lifelike picture possible. Hitachi Color Television. You can see the difference. Hitachi, science for the senses.
After you,
Kellogg's Honey Nut Corn Flakes. Delicious golden crunchy flakes of corn. Sprinkled with nuts and lightly coated with honey, which makes them quite the most irresistible breakfast cereal imaginable. Kellogg's Honey Nut Corn Flakes. The trouble is, they taste too good.
I saw your sign. What's the big deal?
It's Shell's big deal on a meal.
For real? Huh. What's the spiel?
You fill up at Shell, and for a penny, we'll seal the deal with over $2 in coupons on Chalet Swiss and Harvey's meals.
Save over $2 on quarter chicken dinners and hamburger meals? Wow, unreal.
So how do you feel about Shell's big deal on a meal?
It's a steal.
Why do you think they call us Shell dealers?
Shell dealers help.
Years ago, when the two of you met, it wasn't sort of what other people were doing, an interracial marriage. How has that worked? How has that affected you? How do you deal with it?
It's been a condition of this marriage. I, a long time ago, started saying I don't have an interracial marriage. I'm married to another member of the human race. And that sort of category is something I don't recognize. However, it's there, and it's been there, and it will be there, and we live it.
You know, in show business, to some degree, I mean, they seem to be more tolerant. I'm not quite sure that that really is so.
I'm not either.
There's at least a lip service or some kind of behavior towards tolerance.
How have you dealt with it?
I read an interview with the most famous actor who said, the interviewer said, I remember you used to be so angry and you used to have a chip in your shoulder, and what happened to you? And the guy said, look, it's just that I don't like to be pushed around, and whenever I assert myself, and I let people know that I will not be pushed around and that you must recognize me as a human being and I'm a first-class citizen. All of a sudden, then I become an angry person. I have a chip on my shoulder. Now, that might very well have been true of me. I was far more direct, and I'm not as direct, but my clarity is still there, and I still will not permit people to walk over me in any way, shape, or form. Celebrity certainly helps. I keep thinking of the people that do not have celebrity status and how difficult it must be for them. For me, being a person of color and having celebrity helps until, you know, the next celebrity walks in, of course. And then I'm back to the same place. But
I get the feeling that is the anger that you bring to Mary Beth.
It's probably borrowed from a younger George Stanford Brown. Her sense of moral outrage, her righteous indignation, is maybe based on my observation of this man, more than anger of my own.
Have you cried? Have you been unhappy? Have you been really incensed over the way your husband has been treated at times?
Sure. Yes, I have. Yes, I've raged against a lot of things. I've also had to keep him from being so enraged that he harmed himself or somebody else. You know, there's been a devil's advocate some of the time about being the one that says, take it easy, you know, don't let it hurt you.
Can you both be specific? Can you think of that one time when the rage was so overwhelming that you might have done something so destructive to yourself?
Oh, never destructive to me.
Or destructive to somebody else or to the house?
It would never hurt myself. No, I can't. No, not specifically.
No, you can't say what injustice hurt the most. Each injustice is enraging, and
How has all of this affected the children?
they're terrific young ladies. They're terrific young ladies. They're very strong.
They've never been affected. They've never had any problems going to school.
You know, the problem comes from people trying to say, what are you? Or define yourself. And,
putting a label.
Yeah, and yeah, you're black. Well, why? I mean, why aren't they
Well, you're
white?
not quite black.
Yeah, what is that?
You're not really black.
You know,
What did you tell them when they came home from school one day, and obviously one of them or both of them asked you that question?
That they were who they were. That their particular history was real interesting and needed honoring on both sides. That they would have to insist on their own individuality, and that was a privilege to have the freedom to do that kind of insisting on your own individual self.
Yeah, because
strong,
we come from so many different places, Tyne and I. We bring that richness to each other, and certainly to the family. Both sides are rich in history, so we've really melded a good thing here.
Well, it's really been wonderful talking to both of you. I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Thank you so much for the time and for the day off.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was fun. It was better than last time.
Coming up next week on Entertainment Tonight, Monday, John Ritter. He's taking a break from comedy for a serious dramatic role.
Tuesday, Molly Ringwald, the teen queen of the movies. Does she look pretty in pink?
Wednesday, Andy Griffith, Don Knotts, and Ron Howard go back to the good old days for Return to Mayberry.
Thursday, Pierce Brosnan. Can he make the switch from TV to the big screen?
And Friday, 20 shows that changed TV, hosted by Peter Strauss, asks the $64,000 question.
All next week on Entertainment Tonight.